Huawei's been at the smartphone game for a while, but I'd argue it only recently started hitting its stride. Remember the Nexus 6P or the Mate 8? They were proof that hardware-wise Huawei is the real deal. Now the company's trying to keep that streak alive with the new Huawei Mate 9, a big old smartphone that might be even smarter than you think. Here's what you need to know. First off, it has a 5.9-inch screen, which would normally feel like overkill if Huawei didn't build the rest of the phone so well. Yeah, it's a little on the enormous side, but the sloping back and near absence of bezels on the sides of the screen help it feel a little smaller than it really is. The screen only runs at 1080p, but it's still plenty crisp, and frankly more than enough to make the Mate 9 compatible with Google's Daydream VR platform. Running at 1080p is pretty good for battery life too, but it's not like Huawei went the cheap and easy route there either. The Mate 9 has a whopping 4,000 mAh battery, and the supercharged tech Huawei has been working on should get a bone-dry device to almost 60% charged in about half an hour. Huawei didn't phone it in on the camera either. Well, cameras, I should say. There's a 20-megapixel monochrome sensor for detail that adds nuance to the color data captured by a 12-megapixel main sensor. Now, together they're Leica certified, and together they're also used for a sort of 2x zoom mode, which the company has been really bad at explaining. The Mate 9 is snappy too, even without a Snapdragon chipset. Huawei went with an octa-core Kirin 960 chip plus 4GB of RAM and a beefy graphics processor. We'll have to wait to see how it stacks up against the rest of the year's flagships, but even the unfinished Mate 9s we played with didn't break a sweat while we tried to break them. Of course, the thing about using Huawei phones is that even though they pack a lot of power, the software and interface has always been sort of lousy. They're working on it though. We've got a new version of Huawei's EMUI here that cleans up some of the company's old messes. Icons have been redesigned, useless menus have been scrapped, features are easier to get to. You get where I'm going with this. It's still a long way from stock, but there's a good chance you might not completely hate this software. That's a smart move on Huawei's part, but maybe the smartest is how the Mate 9 uses machine learning to figure out how you use your phone and tweak performance accordingly. Let's say you're the sort of person who, for whatever reason, likes to play Alto's Adventure immediately after using Twitter. The Mate 9 should pick up on that pattern and optimize available memory and CPU performance while you're checking tweets in anticipation of that game being launched. The potential upsides here are great, but we need to spend a lot more time with the Mate 9 before any performance differences pop up. Now, I was always a little bummed that Huawei never brought its flagship Mate 8 to the United States. That trend ends here. The Mate 9 is coming. We don't know how much it's going to cost or when it's going to land, but finally, people in the US are going to get a taste of Huawei's A-game.